The Chinese have a theory that you pass through boredom into fascination, and I think it's true.
If only we could pull out our brain and use only our eyes.
Hey, welcome to the Street Shots Photography Podcast. This is Antonio.
And this is Ward.
And this is episode 247 for the end of January 2026. And for the area code of
Ascension Island.
Ascension Island, which is not part of the NAMP, the North American
out there.
Number. It's a country code now. We're not an area code. But yes, the country code for the Ascension Island. Island or islands? Is it one island?
I think it's just island. I think it's part of the Commonwealth, a collection of 3 different islands. I just read a little bit of it on the Wikipedia, and I've since closed it. I just wanted to know where physically it was. So
in the Atlantic someplace, and I remember it being a staging area for the British task force in the early 80s when they went down to reclaim their island of sheep down in the Falklands.
The Falkland Islands.
The Falkland Sheep Islands. Yes, they needed to get those sheep. So yeah, I remember Ascension Island being sort of a midway, or maybe not exactly midway, but just sort of a stopping post for that. So yes, if anybody in Ascension Island listens to us, could you reach out and say hi? Really,
us asking for feedback for these countries. It's not going well.
No, we're not getting too many.
We're counting on you, Ascension Island.
Right, someone is right. We've already gone through Africa, and we haven't heard much from there. So Ascension Island, you're the next one. We're making around the world. Yes, country code. Yeah, we don't have it. It's not like it says. It's not part of the NAMP. North American Numbering Plan, NAMP.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, we already did the Happy New Year, so we don't have to do that. Right?
Yeah, we don't have to.
That's history.
We're coasting into February now. So
yeah, so it's already into the year. Yeah. 1/12. How are you?
I'm doing really good. I guess we were in a little the pre-show chat.
Pre-show chat.
We're talking about how cold things are, and yes, it's cold. And I know my American cousins are going through in the Midwest especially, are going through some miserable winter weather, and so I feel for you. I know a little bit about what it's like, but it's not good, especially the cold. It's not cool. It's cold.
No,
it's not well at all.
It's kind of a first experience for me to get down to these temperatures. But I mean, we've had them in New York, but I'm regularly, like, we're looking at last night, it was -8 Fahrenheit.
-8 Fahrenheit. It's getting cold. It's in the
That
20s,
is getting cold. It is
for us. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if you saw the weather maps, the storm that is passing through. So people are going through it right now. It's 2/3 of the country long.
Wow.
It goes from like Texas or New Mexico or Arizona or something all the way up to Maine. It was this giant line, and I don't know what direction this goes. We got at the edge. We were getting weather reports saying, we're going to get more snow, and then it started to change as the storm started to form more south of us here. Mm-hmm. So we only got like 1.5 inches, 2 inches. I would think it's a dusting compared to what the rest of the country is getting. But we had those high temperatures, those low temperatures. So
high negative numbers.
Negative numbers, yeah. So it made it very interesting being outside. But it's I think I don't know. There must be a certain point where it does matter. But like there's got to be this range where like -10. Or -15 or -6, there didn't seem to be much of a difference unless there's wind where it's making
exactly.
It painful.
That's where you're going to feel it. Yeah. Particularly if it's sunny. So if it's sunny and there's not much wind, you feel like, well, this is not so bad. And then the wind picks up and you're like, get the family in, get in the cellar, do something, get away.
Anyway, it was, and not my car where it used to be in New York was always indoors.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's outdoors. And so you got to think of all these different issues with like clearing snow off the windshield and starting the car up and turning the lights on a little bit and making sure it doesn't have a new battery in the car. So hopefully that will make it be okay. But
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, but it's, driving in snow. Like, I don't drive on snow. And my car's not a 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. So, all these new things. Although someone was telling me that if you're driving on ice, to treat it as if, I might have said this before in the show, but I can't remember. Treat it as if you're carrying a big bowl of soup.
Yeah.
Like,
don't put a lot of physics through the car. Yeah.
Right. Just start up really slow down really slow, do all these things very slowly. So,
and only slide around a little bit if you're trying to scare somebody in the passenger seat.
I haven't done that yet. I did spin my tires. Was it this morning? Yeah, a little bit, but not so bad. It was really interesting. So yeah, what else is going on besides weather? Yeah,
my magazine, my zine thing.
Yes,
it's selling. It's almost sold out. So
yeah. So
I haven't gone to social media yet. So I've recovered enough gross that I can make another order. So I've done that, and it will arrive around February 3rd or 4th. When it does, I'll put a little social media splash. And so it's so
roughly about the time the show will be out.
It'll be close.
Within like a week. Within a week. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So if you're listening to this, go to, or it's on your website. It's the first.
Yep.
It's the first thing on your website. Yeah. Go to Ward's website, which is
rosin.ca.
rosin.ca.
Yeah. So I sent you one. You bought one for me. Thank you very much.
I got one. Yes.
Look at it.
I did. Wait. Where is it?
I'm fishing for compliments. I got to say, I'm very needy right now.
Hang on.
Wait. He's going to go get it. I got mine. We can look at mine if you want. Got my little review copy here.
Let's see. I think it's in my bag, right?
There's no cats. You're safe from the cat action. No cats. Okay.
You know what? I don't see. Where is it? Oh.
Don't hurt yourself.
You know what? I don't know where it is. Not in my bag.
Oh, well.
Somewhere. Yeah, I think it's out on the dining table, perhaps. Yeah. So.
All right. That's all right.
Well, I really like it. You said that you picked the perfect binding because you didn't want it to lay down and be puffy.
I didn't want it to like spring open.
Spring open, right.
I wanted it to kind of lay flat. And I've kind of abused my review copy here, and it's survived pretty well. It's got a bit of a curvature to it, but I like the way it still lays flat, and it doesn't spring open on its own.
I would be curious what it would look like. I mean, I like it. I love it because I like the perfect binding. I would be curious what it would look like in the saddle stitch or whatever that's called.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can't find it. I think it's out in the living room. Just as a curiosity, and like if you tried different papers. Anyway, but I was really excited to get it. And actually I was surprised how fast it got here. So
yeah, me too. Cause that's hit and miss with my experience with Ornis Photo. Sometimes things you would send something close and it would seem to take forever. It'd take 2 weeks. And other times I sent a copy of it to Mississippi and it got there long before. I think the ones I sent to New York still haven't arrived yet. I think they're going to arrive today or tomorrow.
Okay.
And the copy I sent to Mississippi was, there 3 or 4 days. It was there on Friday, I think. So yeah, it's fine.
Have you been getting some feedback about it?
No feedback yet.
All right. So I can be the first.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It looks great. I love the size of it. Your pairings are really well thought out. The printing and the style of it really serves the pictures. It's like, I don't know if I'm making sense about this, but it seems to
taking off on the Japanese zines, right? Which are full bleed.
Yeah, and just also the way, I mean, the company, what was the name of the company that printed it?
Mixam, M-I-X-A-M.
Mixam, yeah. They did a really good job without you seeming to have to put a lot of input into it. You just sent them the files and they're printing right out of the
PDF.
machines look great. Yeah. So cheers to them as well. Wow.
Yeah.
And I've been showing it around to a few people, and everybody's been giving real good, enjoying looking at that. And the fact that you don't have any words in it is great.
Well,
And
I
they
just
put
have the
everything in the back.
description on the back if you happen to
Yeah,
notice
but
it.
that's
and
like sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Good. I'm
yeah,
glad it's working out.
Can't read it at night. Oh, it's kind of dark. Sorry, you need light. No, I mean, no, serious. It's like, thinking about reading and looking at it in bed. It's like, wait a minute, it's a little too dark to get the details. Yeah, but that's not a criticism of the printing.
If you got a miner's lamp or something, one of those reading lights,
Yeah. Well, I would encourage everybody who's into zines, or just go and to your website, and you're charging what, $15 for it?
15 Canadian,
American?
which works out to about 11 American. Yeah.
Oh, those are Canadian bucks. I thought
Those
it was
are Canadian dollars. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. The listing says prices in Canadian dollars. Yeah.
I didn't look at it that quickly. I just put it in the cart and bought it. So I wasn't thinking about it. Wonderful. And you're saying you're making some money on it, yeah?
I made enough gross to put in another order of twice as big as this first printing. So
yeah. Oh, okay. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you're happy with it.
I'm happy, and I'm thinking ahead to the next phase.
Yeah. Well,
what I'm going to do. So,
like I said, we're going to be locking down because of weather. Well, we already are, and I should be putting effort in taking our zine that we made and transferring it to the place that you made it at, because I like that size. I think it's, it feels zine-y,
You can trust the tones that are in the PDF.
Yeah.
And because that's what I got out. I mean, if there's a drift to the tonal quality, I can't see it. It's what I look at the higher tones in the images of the faces of some of the subjects, and they're where I would put them. Mm-hmm. So I'm very happy.
Yeah. Well, wonderful job, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So what are we going to talk about tonight? Oh, we got a couple of thanks to give out. Do we know?
Oh, yeah. Well, I still haven't said what's up with me.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's up with you?
I know. Me.
I want to thank you.
Turn.
I want to thank you for setting up the show.
For setting up the show?
Yeah. Setting up the show. It's your show. So
yeah.
All right.
Well, first we do have to thank our honorary producers, Dan and Chris, who helped us support the show by buying us a coffee the past couple of weeks. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Dan says, Happy New Year. Looking forward to spending 2026 with yous guys. We're getting this across the board.
Where he's from. Where is he coming from?
Yous guys. And then Chris says, thanks, fellers. So, do we really have? I don't think I have a New York accent. I came across a couple of people in the past couple of weeks who were asking me, where are you from? I'm from New York. I was like, really? I don't hear an accent. I'm like, really? Like, well, I was like, what kind of accent are you expecting? Like, use guys, forget about it, or something like that. I don't know I don't know what a New York accent sounds like. There's a Brooklyn accent and there's a Bronx accent.
Yeah.
There's certainly a Queens accent, but I am not aware of what a Manhattan accent looks like. And even though I've spent the majority of my life in Brooklyn, I didn't pick up. You don't come across people everywhere walking around going, "Use guys," or
I seem
forget
to
about
remember there's a bit that the comedian Fred Arneson does, different accents to different parts of New York. It's pretty funny.
Oh, really? Okay.
Talks about like the people on the the Upper East Side and people in Staten Island, and he says these single word phrases or two 3-word phrases that are in that accent. It's pretty funny.
I should listen to that. Yeah. Well, okay. So anyway, yeah, not much has gone on. Hunker down for the weather.
Yeah.
I've taken out my drone a couple times to do some aerial photography with, practice with it. This is a nice place to practice with it. There's a lot of places that has a lot of space, and I could fly it, and as long as I got permission.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to doing some aerial photography when the weather is is better for flying. I'm not worried about it being too cold. It's just there has to be like a certain amount of wind. It can't be over a certain amount of wind. And like I'm really interested in looking forward to seeing the world from this different point of view. Mm-hmm. And the cameras on these things are not bad. They're not great, but I'm not complaining. With a little, they need a little work in Lightroom, maybe a little sharpening, a little this, that, and the other thing, depending on the camera you're using. But they're not bad, and it's a really unique perspective. And so, and like I said, I'm doing so far mostly photography, but I want to learn it so that I can do video and offer that as an option for me to do blah, 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 right? Mm-hmm. Because, who knows? That being said, I also, a while back, I remember I was trying to say that I'm not going to buy stuff this year, and I didn't, but I'm getting stuff that's being sent to me that I ordered last year.
Oh.
So I just got this Dwarf Mini Smart Telescope.
Oh,
I don't know if you can see it. It's
yeah.
Well, obviously if you're listening to the podcast, you can't see it.
It's a box with a picture of a smart telescope on it.
Yes, with if you think about, I can't describe it, but there's this whole, now bunch of smart telescopes, which are basically you hook them up to your phone via Wi-Fi, and you stick the camera or telescope outside so that you can sit in comfort in your living room and program it wherever it is, and then point it at the sky, and it does all the stacking for you. It does a lot of work for you, and it seems like it's a nice introduction to astrophotography. It doesn't require a lot of specialized cameras and equipment and whatnot. And I'm sure I've seen the picture quality from this. It's also not bad,
Yeah.
And the idea that I could take astrophotography from, setting up a tripod in the front yard and then being in the warmth, controlling the camera. We have a limited view of the sky. Maybe not limited, but it's not like we've got trees around in here.
Yeah.
But not bad. There's not a bad view from the front yard. But I've been wanting to do astrophotography, and this seemed to get some good reviews. I think it just came out.
This our friend Mac has one, right? Is that?
Yes, he's
we got the
inspiration
idea from right now.
Yeah, when I saw his pictures that he posted in our Discord, I'm blown away by them. I mean, I think about this as like if you're going to, again, like you're going to the Grand Canyon. Like, why would you want to take pictures of the Grand Canyon when there's a million pictures of them? Well, guess what? I have never done it before. Mm-hmm. And so when I see Mac's pictures, and he's never shot these, galaxies before, and he's got the telescope set up, they're fantastic. And also knowing someone who did it, I don't know why, that was really exciting. My cousin also has a pretty extensive setup. I couldn't even possibly describe what it is, but I know he's pieced together this telescope with, sensors, and I don't know what it takes, but a whole bunch of stuff. And his astrophotography is unbelievable. It is so good. And again, I look at that stuff, and of course I'm on Facebook, and I always, save the picture off of Facebook and use it as wallpaper because it's so nice. Sorry, Neil. Neil. Yeah, Neil, I'm sorry. I'm stealing. I think I told him I'm stealing his pictures, so maybe he knows. It's not a big deal. So anyway, that idea I remember once I set up my X100, I think it was my X100T for the first time, and I just put it on a car, and I pointed it up, and we were in the middle of, I don't know, I think it was Cape Cod. And I set it up, and I just did like a 10-second or 20-second exposure. And I was like, what is that smudge? And I looked at it, and it was the Andromeda Galaxy that I got. And
you did? You were pointing it that direction.
Yeah, well, I didn't know. I just pointed it up, and I just happened to catch the Andromeda Galaxy. And I thought, well, this is with a, Fuji camera with what is this? 860? I don't think it was a 20.
It's a 23. It's a 23 f2, right?
No. I was thinking, what's the megapixel of that camera? Is it 16 or 18? It wasn't 24. Whatever it is, it's just not a high resolution camera, and I was manually focusing it. I mean, it's infinity, and beyond. but that was incredibly exciting to photograph something in the sky, and not expecting to see it there, and then also knowing what it is. And even though it was a little smudge, it was pretty clear what it was, but it was still a little smudge. Anyway, so I ordered this last year when it was, I don't know, being advertised. And I thought, okay, well, it's a decent price. And, I'm in a place now where I can drive 20 minutes and have a darker sky. It's not totally black, but it's certainly pretty dark here.
Enough that what are they called? The stitches, layers. What do you call them? Where it overlays a whole bunch of images together.
Yeah, when this is a wide field camera. Well, I think it's got 2 cameras. It is a wide field, so it captures much more area. But I think you can stitch them together. So anyway, it's sitting in the box, but it's, of course, I just got it, and I think it's too flippin' cold out to put it out there. I wouldn't want to damage it or something. I mean, I haven't read the directions, so I don't know what the specs are on it. Anyway, that's sitting in a box, ready to go. So cool. So a lot of little technology things that are different than I could have done in New York City, in Brooklyn. Not that I'm saying it's better for me to be here, but there are things here photographically that I'm doing that just haven't been able to do when I was back in the East Coast. So that's kind of fun, yeah. And I don't know, photographing more protests. They're on my website. I've decided to put those pictures on my website now. Just as this is where I am, and people can see what I'm doing. Maybe a newspaper says, "Oh, I like your work." But one of the things when I was doing that, I just photographed a protest this past Saturday. I think I wrote about this in the Substack article. I can't remember if we talked about this or not, but maybe I'm rehashing it here. But maybe people aren't reading the Substack. When I went out to photograph the protests a couple of weeks ago, and we're having way too many protests here, but I'm not saying that I'm not being, it's just, there's a lot to go and photograph. There's a lot of tumult happening here, and the protests are out there, and I'm figuring one of the things I can do is photograph them and document and be, sort of a witness in a historic way, But I went out and on purpose decided to wear 2 cameras. Did I talk about this last time?
Yeah, I think,
I did, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really because I wanted to be engaged in people thinking, and even myself thinking, that I'm taking this seriously. I'm not just some guy. And I think when people see you with a couple of cameras on, they okay, you're serious.
Yeah.
But it made me feel like there were parts of when I was doing this in school, as there were parts to being photojournalism student or something like that I enjoyed. I know it was really hard. I didn't wasn't a big fan of being separate from what was going on.
Trying to be impartial.
Yeah, I couldn't be impartial, but the documentation, and engaging with people and looking at them, and this, I had really liked doing this, and I'm getting more comfortable at it, and I'm wondering if by doing this as sort of it's like a way that will leak out into other kinds of photography that I want to do, like maybe just street portraiture or anything, because it's a way to get those chops, at least for me, you know, and make me comfortable about just approaching people like, hey, I'm a photographer, and take a picture and give them a thumbs up, or hey, you look great, I love the sign, your clothes look good, whatever it is,
Yeah.
Not that I'm an introvert, but I know I'm not the one who goes up to people and, random people on the street and grab them and take pictures of them. But I got the feeling that this is helping. This is getting me in that mode.
Well, you said something in our group chat today, and I don't know if it betraying any confidence but you used the term, I can't separate myself from the photographs anymore.
Right.
So we're talking about deep meaning there now.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't. I can't. Well, let's just say not that I can't. Maybe I should say that differently, or in addition, I should say I won't. I will not. I want to make a conscious choice about it.
Yeah.
Like I am putting those pictures online, and I am now making sort of a stand for where I am in this world that we're living in now. Yeah. And people are going to like that, or people are not going to like that, and I can't do anything about that, but I'm choosing to do that. And I can't separate myself. The pictures are me, I'm the one making them, but I also won't do that. I don't think. I've decided to make that more of a conscious choice than anything.
Yeah.
And I choose not to,
Yeah.
This is, and maybe this is also a result of getting older, where I start saying, I don't really care what people think about me. And we can, you know, so I realize I'm probably going to piss a few people off, and I'm probably going to make other few people happier. And again, this is not about making anybody feel anything other than how I want to be in this world with my camera. And, you know, I'm choosing to do that. So I like that, and I want to do more of it, and we'll see where that goes. So, but that's my past weekend. Yeah. And if you're interested in seeing the pictures, just go to my website, which is amrosario.com. I put them, they're the first things that come up. So, but it's a whole bunch of things. I label that part of my website, I just call it journeys right now, that are separate than a portfolio page, because I want to have a place that's other than a blog. Because I don't know. I'm not sitting there. I don't really want to write. You know, I've got Substack. We do a lot of stuff on Substack.
Yeah. And
but on my website.
But our Substack is, I think it's a different, has a different purpose than what I'm imagining you're talking about for your blog, for your website.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and a blog is very personal. I can talk about things that I'm doing. And I wanted to have a page on my website that was really just like small little projects, sometimes just done in a day or in a few hours, that are not a job, but have a cohesiveness to it. So I'm actually curious about anybody's feedback about that. I don't know if you had a chance to look at them. I don't know if you've seen my website lately.
I haven't lately. I was going to float the idea of maybe you revamping my website, because it's
me doing your website. Okay, well, for a different discussion later.
A different discussion later.
Yes.
I just cannot. I mean, I'm happy to put my, my zine page up and stuff. That's like, if I can get it done in 20 minutes or whatever, but I just can't build up the energy, strength, whatever it is to reformat and rejig. I mean, maybe one of these weekends.
Dude, it's Squarespace. You have a Squarespace site.
I have a Squarespace site, yes.
You basically drag and drop and you're done.
I'm exceedingly lazy, I find it.
Fair enough.
But I mean, it's not about the, the content, what the actual pictures I'm putting in. I'm okay, I think, at curating that. It's just, I'm going to change the template. Okay, what's all the work that has to go into
don't change the template. Just leave it alone. Nobody cares. I'm serious. Nobody cares. I just want to see pictures. I went with the most basic template because I'm like, I don't have time to think about that. And I'm not into making all these crazy stuff. I just want pictures to look good. I want them to be a certain size. My website is about the photography. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
It's not
I think
about
what
the
I'll
design.
do is I'll just pick a different page type and show my images.
And let's stick a gallery on it. Everybody would tell you. Everybody's listening. Just like,
Okay, a gallery.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. No problem. So. Welcome to the show.
You save me a bunch of money. I'd have to pay you to do it for me.
I'm happy to take your money as long as it's in American dollars, not Canadian dollars.
Well, I'm sorry, I can't help you there.
So yeah, we're kind of in this weird in between zone. Like, we're in the middle of winter. There's not much going on. I was like, I don't know what to talk about, but I will say today, strangely enough, in my YouTube feed, popped up a video about, what was it? It was about the making of a dye transfer, William Eggleston's. And I'm going to read a description of what a dye transfer is, what a dye transfer print is, I should say, so that I don't have to kind of try to compress it. So please forgive me if I'm just reading this, but can I? Would you mind?
I don't mind.
You don't mind. All right.
People out there, you don't mind. It's all
you don't
good.
mind,
We'll
right?
understand a whole lot better.
Okay. Yes, because I want to say it. Okay. Dye transfer printing. The process begins by photographing the original Kodachrome slide through red, green, and blue filters to create 3 separate black and white negatives. These negatives are then enlarged onto special matrix film, which is processed to create a gelatin, quote, relief map rather than a standard dark and light image. In this relief, the shadow areas are composed of thick gelatin capable of holding large amounts of liquid, while the highlight areas are very thin, effectively creating a 3-dimensional mold for each color channel. To create the final print, these three matrices are coated in acid-rich cyan, magenta, and yellow dyes, which the gelatin absorbs in proportion to its thickness. The printer then aligns and presses each matrix one by one onto a single sheet of chemically treated paper. The dye physically migrates from the gelatin into the paper fiber, blending the three layers to reconstruct the full color image with the process's signature wet look, independent contrast control, and extreme archival permanence. Now, I'll put the video link in our show notes so this all will make sense, because it's kind of hard to, visualize if you don't know anything about printing. And I was watching this and I was like, it's not a terribly interesting video. I think it's done a few years ago, but it is in terms of like understanding what a dye transfer print is. And when I saw this, I remember when I was working at the Image Bank, we had a lot of photographers' prints on the walls in the office, and we did have a bunch of dye transfer prints, and I didn't really know what dye transfer was back then. I was just like, oh, it's a beautiful print. But we had one from the photographer J. Maisel, and it was a picture of sort of, how do we describe that? Let me look at it. It's a shot of, it looks like a worker of some kind, maybe on a dock or something. He's wearing a blue overalls, dragging this very heavy piece of rope. You only see him from about chest down, and you see his feet, and behind him is like a red wall or the side of a red ship or something like that. And dye transfers bring out a certain richness and color that is you can't do in any other kind of process. And I remember this photo being on the wall, and it's just, especially with red, right? Like your eye is really kind of moved by red in photographs. This red, as I remember it, was incredible, right? And so the dye transfer process really is this very cool, very expensive way of printing an image. So I don't know if you have anything to say about this. So
no, it's just, I had seen when I was in my 20s, the local university here, if I remember correctly, had some relationship with a lab or something. Somebody was doing dye transfer prints, and there was a show of presumably students or grad students in the art program. I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but they had a few of them up sort of like on easels for you to look at. And they were large prints. Like I seem to remember them being at least 24 by 24 and somewhere even bigger, poster size, like huge. And there's one picture of a young man with a shirt off, and you could see the veins in his chest. Like, in the detail was amazing. Presumably they were shooting slide film on, 6x6 film, a 6x6 camera. And then they were doing these dye transfer prints, and it was unbelievably realistic and stunning. And I didn't really absorb what it was they were doing. It was just photography. And I'm like, okay. But I remember being very struck by these dye transfer prints. And
I never really knew what a dye transfer print was. I knew it has something to do with dyes. I didn't understand that it came from 3 black and white negatives using filters, which is to me incredibly interesting in itself, because like, especially if you know Kodachrome film, Kodachrome is actually a black and white film with 3 color filters built into it. And so it's interesting that it's using some of the same processes as the film that it's trying to duplicate. Now, the thing is that Kodachrome film had a really, depending on the years, but like would generally have a really great way of recording reds.
Right.
Which is why when you look at like a lot of these photographers that we like to talk about, like Ernst Haas, and why am I blanking out? Give me the names, street photographers. Sol Leiter.
Joel Sternfeld did large format.
Right. Well, but anyone who was shooting Kodachrome back then, like there's a certain color in Kodachrome that was very, very, very hard to reproduce in any other way than a dye transfer. And mainly because they're slides, if you have negatives, you go into the darkroom and you create prints, stuff like that. But slides, you just don't go into the darkroom and make a print from a slide. There's very few ways for you to bring that slide to life. One of the ways way back when, if we didn't have scanning, it was either Cibachromes, which was an Ilford process, or dye transfers. And then you could make internegatives from them. There was a way to like photograph a slide onto negative film and then use that negative and then print in a typical process. You could do that fine, but you lost some bit of something in the translation.
Yeah.
But to get the difference between acebachrome was also it's a proprietary format. So unlike dye transfer, which didn't belong to anybody, it was just a way to make prints. Acebachrome belonged to Ilford.
Right.
And acebachrome, the difference between acebachromes and dye transfers is acebachrome is very much like the slide. It's like, how would you describe it? It's very glossy. It's incredibly glossy. In fact, it might even be too glossy. But you make a print from acebachrome, and it's for bright colors. It's like, I don't know. Think of advertising pictures. Something that's just very over the top, right? Where dye transfers, and it was actually cheaper than dye transfers. Dye transfers are very expensive, but acebachromes did have the ability to also get the colors in such a way that were pretty exciting, but not like dye transfers. Dye transfers were really on their own. So I did a little quick research to find out the short list of photographers who used dye transfers to help define their look. And I got a small handful. William Eggleston, of course. Irving Penn, which I did not know. And apparently he liked to manipulate the chemical mixtures to come up with quote unquote impossible colors, which what it says here in front of me, like a specific shade of frozen food color or flower petal. Irving Penn did a whole bunch of pictures of frozen foods and flowers. And some of his frozen food pictures I was looking at, I was like, I wonder how he got those colors. Well, anyway, it's dye transfer.
This is how.
Yeah. Elliot Porter, wildlife nature photographer, landscape. Joel Sternfeld, who you just mentioned.
Yeah.
The picture that I think they say is the one that he made a print of was the McLean, Virginia picture, the firefighter buying a pumpkin while a house burns in the background.
And those pumpkins look spectacular, that orange. So saturated. Right.
Ernst Haas as well. And strangely enough, Helen Levitt, which surprised me. And what I'm imagining is that, like, the pictures that we see in the books. In fact, I've got a book on the way. I've got an Ernst Haas book on the way. That's a book of his dye transfers. So, yes. So it's a book of the transfers themselves. So the book is trying to reproduce the colors of the transfers. So it's not going to the original photographs, like the slides or whatever, whatever process the Ernst Haas has the pictures, most likely slide film. They're not taking the original slides and making pictures. They're finding the dye transfer prints and putting those into book, which I imagine is also very difficult to do. But a good book publisher and printer will be able to do that and get at least get a quality, because they're so much different in a sense from the slides.
Yeah,
they have a different quality altogether. Go ahead.
That sounds fascinating. Do you remember the publisher who publishes? Sorry.
No.
If it was a style book or if it was a...
Hang on a second. I think I got my shop app here. Let's see where it's coming from. Goldspot Pen. Photo Bookstore. It's called The Color Legacy. Yeah. Okay. $52. Not bad. But I don't see the publisher.
Okay.
Hang on. Just go to photobookstore.com, which is, I would suggest you not do it because you will buy more books. Oh, wait, here we go. I got it.
I know about that disease.
Yeah, it is. Oh, I can't even pronounce this. Hatje Cantz. C-A-N-T-Z.
Yeah. Okay.
Hot J?
Yeah, I think.
Hot J Cantz 2025, hardback, first edition. 144 pages. Fred Herzog was a master of color photography. His iconic Kodachrome street shots from the 50s to the 60s capture urban life in warm red-orange tones, offering precise observations of people and city movements. Let me see if it says here. It doesn't say here that it's specifically from the dye transfers, but I think I read that when I was about to buy this book someplace.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I didn't know, well, if Fred Herzog did commission his work to be on dye transfer, but that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you look at, when you look at the reds in the sample pages of this book, I'm really thinking that they are taken from, at least some of them are taken from dye transfers, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Because they certainly don't look like Kodachrome slides. They look like something that's beyond. But anyway, I wouldn't call it an alternate process. I would just call it like it's a very legacy process, a very old process, which could still be done at whatever cost it is. It makes me really wish I would love to. I don't think I've got any photographs that would be worthy of
that's transfer. The thing, right?
Yeah. But anyway, I wanted to bring that in and mention that. I know it's a little technical stuff, but it is something that really excited me. So I'll make sure I put those in the show notes.
Somehow I see you with your X100 VI setting the Kodachrome recipe on it and going to go walk around town looking for some neon or something.
Actually, since our brother in light, Dave, told us that he has generated some film recipes using ChatGPT, I thought I would try to do the same with ChatGPT or Gemini and see if it would come up with a film recipe certainly for post-processing. I mean, I've got some for a dye transfer look. But it did come up with a film recipe, which I might have to try. I don't know if it's of any good now. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't taken my camera out. Yeah. So I will give that a try. I'll post that in our Discord because I don't want to put it up public yet. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll get some tests on it. So. But anyway, I wanted to make sure that was that something that just popped up today, and dye transfer is a cool thing. If anybody, if you ever get a chance to see dye transfer prints, please do go see them. They're, especially from a good photographer, they'll hopefully blow you away, I think. Oh, and Eggleston mainly did it for the picture that he's got of the red ceiling. Mm-hmm. The famous picture of the red ceiling with the light bulb and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He wanted to have a red that just made your eyes explode.
Yeah, well, I think he hit it.
What?
Well, I mean, even the reproductions that we see on the web, that red it's otherworldly. It's something else.
Yeah, and that only really becomes from the dye transfer process. It's the original Kodachrome slides. They're very red. I mean, Kodachrome was very happy in the red, the red zone, as it were. Mm-hmm. But so is dye transfer too. So. What else is rolling around in our minds here?
I don't know. I just maybe we talk a little bit about, as we're growing as photographers, like we're talking about individual subjects and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Individual things of lessons that we've learned in these last few years, maybe since I came on the show or whatever. And I think we both had kind of epiphanies and growth in our creative lives, particularly in these last couple of years, as things are changing in our lives and, we're doing trips and things like that. And if there's anything that we could share that might be interesting
it's kind of a nice way to start off the new year. I mean, in a way,
if we're just sitting around having a beer or whatever, which we're not actually, we didn't
No, I didn't have a beer
today. And I haven't either.
No. I'm a little dizzy today for some reason, so I don't think the beer would help me. Yeah. That's a good, I don't know. It's interesting to think about.
We're not talking about specifics. Like,
not specifics.
You do this. Well, no, I learned to use this camera. I got figured out my thing with the thing. It's not like that. It's just sort of a more philosophical, like, what is it that we're stop photographing that we used to, that we don't need to? What are we kind of leaving behind? Or if we get bored, what do we do? What do we do?
Well, that's it. Okay. So, yeah. Well, here's the one. What is it when we get bored? What does even boredom mean? Like, in terms of photography, like, I don't feel like going out and shooting. There's nothing out there to shoot we're stuck in the winter. This is actually, I think we've done this before, maybe. Like,
Yeah.
whoever's listening to us on the northern hemisphere, like you may be stuck indoors. Maybe you like to go out in the cold. I'm not a big fan of that too much, frankly.
I'm not a big, I mean, I maybe brag about I can tolerate it more than some people. I'm not taking my gear.
Yeah.
I'm not taking my gear out there. I have the phone.
No, there's
I take a couple of pictures of frost on a tree, and then I put it back in my pocket.
Right.
And,
but when it's not, when it's, actually, it's funny. We should have maybe had Dave on the show talking about this because, he often is going out in his neck of the woods and he's capturing some really beautiful landscape stuff and a lot of details. And I think that sort of shows that, like, when you look at your outside, your backyard, or, down in the park, and you say, I've seen this a million times, and it's winter, and it's gray out, and, like, why do I want to take any pictures? And, I'm always happily surprised when I see Dave doing that. I'm not sure I don't know if he's got the same reaction when he sees everything, but, like, I'm imagining if I was in his shoes, to be like, okay, well, how much snow can I look at? How many, bare leaf trees can I see? And yet he seems to be able to find these things in it still. And he's doing it within his neighborhood, in his, and so I really admire that. And yet, I'll look outside and it's gray and the leaves are all brown, and, when there's no snow on the floor, it's like, it's really kind of, it's not very interesting here, which is me already saying there's nothing worth photographing, which is a load of BS, I think, because there is things. I don't always know how to find that stuff. I mean, like I was saying at the beginning, I'm looking at now a different point of view, like with drones. And that's kind of like the new shiny thing, right? Oh, let's look at it from a different point of view.
Right.
So, that's one way to get out of this. But let's say stick to the ground, which is most of the time because I can't fly all the time. What is it that I'm trying to do? And this is the time when you really want to figure out how to keep yourself busy, how to keep your eye moving, how not to get bored. And I know we seem to talk about this almost every January, but I think it's a struggle. I only think it's a struggle we have every year.
Well, I can think of it as a struggle. I'm too lazy to consider it a struggle. Struggles suggest that I put a lot of effort into it.
Oh,
you
just don't. Yeah.
I'm just trying not to be glib here. It's hard. There's two ways to look at it. There's always something. Just go out and do it, which I'm not really that guy either.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the, thinking about it differently, there's the imposition of a limitation, which is one of my favorite things. Like, there is an assignment. I mean, sure, we go and shoot the street. Okay, well, what is it exactly we're looking for? I have this daily ritual of walking the dog, and it's been a particularly beautiful winter this year, with the frost hanging in the trees for days and days and days, and ice fog, and, lights going through the fog at night when I get home late or I don't have a chance to walk the dog late. That's just like, it's something that I see, fairly often in the wintertime here, all the years I've been living here. It's like, oh, just get the phone out and, like, this is an interesting composition. Oh, this tree looks pretty cool. I will take it. No, it's not a kind of picture that I would normally take, but there are, compositional rules, and there are special considerations, exposure considerations with the phone. I might have to mess around with the exposure and the zoom, whatever, to get a good composition. And that it's not the mode that you're working in, and you don't necessarily consider it a interesting subject because you see it all the time. But you get home and you put it through Snapseed and like, wait a second here.
Right.
This is something that I'm seeing an image, like a print almost, as if it was for the first time. Yeah, I just tried to line the tree up. And now suddenly I'm not thinking it like when I'm shooting sports or whatever, all this other stuff that I do, where I'm thinking of the tones, I gotta make sure that I get things right in the camera as much as I can, when I'm shooting, and I don't do that with the phone very much. Then I get home and put it in Snapseed, and then I apply some of those rules or whatever you want to call them, that processing discipline that I have in my normal work. And suddenly, wow, well, this is a picture of a frosted tree that I would take. It's like you were talking about how your protest pictures, you're coming out in those. I'm like, no, I don't take pictures of trees that much, but if I did take pictures of trees, this is what it would look like. And so there's something, and it's not a picture that's going to go anywhere. You're not going to be selling fine prints. You're not going to be like wanting to make a print to hang up at your house or anything, but it's taking a boring subject or what you think is a boring subject and making something of it and having some success doing it. And I think part of that, it's a good way to mark time. I think it's to kind of keep your powder dry or keep your head in the game or whatever, glib expression you could put into it. But I don't really think of things, getting bored. It's more like there's just nothing interesting to do, it seems like. And I'm kind of waiting for the next thing.
But is that just a mindset? I mean, you just, you're coming off of, in a sense, some really exciting stuff. You've lived your Japanese trip several times, when you actually went there. True. When you edited the work, when you put it into a zine, you're given this multiple. Actually, that's really interesting because you do have multiple trips in there, which I never really thought of until now. and you're coming off of this thing, and it's like, you had this little bit of a high and adrenaline and dopamine and all the enes that go into your body. And then you come off of that, and you're like, well, what else can match that? And I don't know if you're always looking to match that, which is probably what we should not do.
No, I'm not. I don't know.
I'm using you as sort of an example, not.
Yeah, I know, but I look back at it and I'm looking forward to the next trip. And so maybe that's just filling my head right now.
Yeah. That
I'm not technically bored, but in the moment, like as the days tick by and I don't pick up the camera and I, it's in our front closet, like, it's the gear's ready to go at any time. I can just pick it up and go. I don't know. I think I'm a journalist or something, but it's sort of like if I decide on a Saturday I want to go out and shoot something, batteries are charged, everything's ready to go. Cameras are, cameras got cards in them, batteries are charged, we're all ready to go. And so that way I think I'm okay, but I haven't touched the camera. What's the last thing I did? Like, was still like those weddings. The wedding in October was the last time I used those cameras.
It's funny you say that because I still have this. I remember we were talking about my project of abandoned chairs, right? I was doing a lot of those in New York. I'm finding not a lot here, but I'm finding them here and there.
Yeah.
It's really funny. They're actually, most of the time, they're giant recliners. I don't rarely see like dining room chairs or anything like that.
A wingback, like an Archie Bunker chair. You don't see those.
Yeah, or something like that. And what was I doing? I brought my camera. I think it was my medium format camera, and I went to photograph something, and I can't remember. And I just stuck it, when I was done, I just stuck it in my trunk of my car. And I was coming back home, and I was driving down the street, and I passed by and I saw one of these chairs sitting on the street. And I was driving and I went to the light and I was like, I should go take a picture of it.
Oh, it's yeah.
And it is. And because I realized if I only had my phone, I probably would not have, because I've been photographing these things mainly with my larger sensor cameras. And if I didn't have the camera, like I knew I had the camera in the back of the trunk, and I was like, so I turned the corner and I parked a block away and walked over and I took some shots. And they're okay. They're great. I mean, they're fine. But it made me think about like this idea of having, like a ready to go pack, like you're talking about, like a camera ready to go, not carrying it with me all the time, but just like having it like the Batmobile ready to go at a moment's notice when I see something that I want to take a picture of. And anyway, I was just recalling that moment of And then of course now I've started, what was it? Someone put in Facebook on one of the groups that, says we got stuff to get rid of.
Right.
Posted a picture of a whole like collection of chairs on their lawn a block away. And I was like, oh, and I grabbed my camera. It was still in the same pack. It was still in the same bag as it was before. I grabbed it and I went out there. By the time I got there, most of the stuff had been taken, but there was 2 pieces out there. So I, stood in the middle of the street and took some shots of it. Mm. And what I like about that is that there's these, things that sort of pop up that are not events or not things that I'm looking for. They're these in-between moments. And maybe they're part of a project I'm working on or that I've liked or something I see, and I go back and grab my camera and take a picture of it. But those in-between things are I think, what kind of we're talking about a little bit here, right? Between the big whatever it is you want to, you're going to take your camera and take pictures of it and you're getting ready for it and stuff like that.
I would say, and the thing both of us are kind of find inspiration in between these big things. And I know there's a lot of people who are truly bored, like they don't know what to do next. And I would counsel them not to think of it that way. Like you're in between, it's fine. You have your phone on you all the time. Mm-hmm. There's a fire hydrant. There's a tree. There's a dog. There's a stop sign. Just, try and, I'm thinking of, in art class in high school, there's this exercise. I think it came from somebody took graphic arts or something, but you have pieces of construction paper and you have the background and then you have these shapes and, they're circles and triangles and squares and wavy lines and stuff. And you have to, pick a few of these elements and arrange these shapes on the background in a pleasing way, a pleasing composition. It's just an exercise. Like take these elements, which are hard elements that you can't change, and arrange them on the page. Make it look pretty.
And you're limited by the page too. So
you're limited by the page. So what do you do?
Limited by the page, limited by the
circle
shapes.
In the middle with a bunch of triangles pointing to it or something, or are you making some kind of like modern art looking thing? And it's just a way to think about things. And I think maybe you could translate that a little bit to the camera where you say, okay, what is it that I'm in right now? Is the texture of the pavement I'm walking on interesting? Should I put my foot in the frame? Yeah, it's cliche or whatever, but it's, I like these pair of runners, these sneakers I got on, I like the laces on them. So put that in the frame. It's like just find stuff and it might work. It might not. It might become the background to your phone, some of these little things, you'd be amazed, I think.
It's interesting you said that because in one of the shots I did during the protest, someone had chalked something down on the sidewalk. And so I took a picture of it and I was limited by, what did I have? My 16 millimeter lens on. So it was pretty wide on that. And I couldn't take a picture without my feet in it, like with the tips of my boots in it. Mm-hmm. And I decided to give myself a little bit more room. So I showed my shoes and, there was a very conscious effort to do that, to say that I was here, that it was part of like that. There was part of that. So anyway, this is not exactly what you're talking about, but it made me think
it is.
about
I think it is. It's like, in the moment,
Yeah. Consciously putting myself in the frame, like being aware of this thing rather than just taking a picture of something, consciously paying attention, consciously thinking about what I'm trying to do in the shot. Anyway, you're walking down the street and you're going to take a picture of something on the ground and all of a sudden you got your foot in there. You start to create a new picture. You start to create a new statement. You're the photographer. You've inserted yourself into the picture. Mm-hmm. It's not an ussy. It's not a selfie. It's something else. Anyway, I kind of like that concept, of, I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but what we're talking about too, imagining including yourself in what you're doing somehow. I don't know what that's like. Like, is it including
from as dense as doing a self-portrait, your reflection in glass or in a mirror somewhere, to your shadow, to
Right.
It's another cliche thing, but that can work based on what else is in the frame, right? I mean, you're shooting something that has a real message, and then your feet are in it to say you were there to witness this. Right?
Yeah. It's just two ways of looking at the same
Meaning
subject. You could
comes
say,
from it.
Yeah. I've got, I should crop my feet out because I got my feet in there by accident, or leave them in because that includes now you as the photographer, or your shadow, which in the winter I think is a great time to play with shadows, by the way, because we've got incredibly long shadows when you're able to see them. And including your shadow in there is making a statement. I love this idea. Sorry.
If I can make a recommendation, if you can go downtown when the sun is lined up, when it comes down straight down the street, and you have the longest shadows possible, and you have these really harsh reflections of snow and wet pavement and all that kind of stuff, and what it does to the sides of buildings and people, the way it lights people. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Mark and I loved that light. It was around this time.
Just the extreme. Yeah. We have that here in Lincoln. There's a lot of buildings here with glass on, and when I actually haven't gone down I haven't gone down yet in the winter too much, but the one time I did, I was having a blast just looking at the way light was falling on the different, just where it was going. Following, I hate to say this so cliche, following the light, but I was looking to see where I could find places of just light. And of course, I did a lot of underexposure so that things would go, darker, and the light would be sort of the main subject of the picture. One of the things I'm also finding here is very interesting. And you know what? I think I never went out to do it on purpose. I just started noticing things. But there's a lot of these, shopping centers with, not shopping centers, but, I'm sure they're all over the place.
Strip malls or?
Well, bigger than strip malls. Like, there'll be a bunch of, be like a Target and a Lowe's, these giant
mall. Yeah.
Like an outdoor mall, but giant, right? And there'll
Outlet
be
mall.
Yeah, and there'll be buildings painted really bright colors, and I've been trying to capture minimalistic architectural details. And especially when it was really sunny, because I enjoy this when it's sun and the colors really pop, and the blue sky here is incredibly blue, and always including a bit of the sky in, but really going for these sort of abstract elements and stuff, and I will manipulate them a little bit. I'm not beyond that.
You're the artist, man.
Yeah, well, there was a I can't remember, it was like a pizza place, and it was painted in Italian colors, so it was white, green, and red. And it was a couple days ago when it was perfectly clear out, and the blue sky was in the background, and I shot with my phone. I didn't have my other camera. I did with my phone, and I couldn't get a shot without half the logo in this thing. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go for it. And I'm going to blatantly retouch that out, because the picture isn't about the reality of this building. It is the geometric forms that are created, and the color, and just simple, color. I went back in the Lightroom. I was like, thank the Lightroom gods for generative, replace.
Generative fill, yeah.
I circled that thing, and boom, it was gone. And I'm looking at the resulting image, and I know I made it, right? I manipulated it, but I don't give a poop. Yeah. It was exactly what I wanted, and it fit in with a lot of other pictures I've been doing with that. And I didn't even realize a lot of it's done with my phone, because I'm noticing these things as I'm walking around, and I'm like, oh yeah, well. And a phone's great with saturated colors and whatnot. You can grab all this stuff. So not something I'm looking for. It's just something that's sort of rolling around in the back of my mind. And then will it be a project? I think so. I mean, I'm getting enough pictures with it. And this is something I can do, I can only do really in the sun, because that's my restriction is for me on this. I need sun and blue sky. I like to include blue sky in many of the pictures, because there's a contrast to that. But anyway, from that kind of stuff, all of a sudden, I'm starting to think of things a little bit differently, and I'm starting to look for things, and you don't know what comes from these sort of in between moments.
You remind me so much. I'm just bringing it up now because I think of it. A good friend of ours, and Marcy and I went to Texas and Louisiana to celebrate our various milestone wedding anniversaries. And we were kind of bored in Galveston, Texas. And so it was in whatever, October. So there wasn't much going on. Sort of like Coney Island is, in the off season, not a lot of people around. And it's, it's a coastal resort community. There's not much going on. And so I'm like, well, I might as well just do typologies of buildings. And then later in the afternoon, rakish, light raking across things. And I got this beautiful picture of this brick building that's, all closed up, very secure with the curb and a yellow and a railing. And it's just this kind of perfect little geometric experiment that has bricks in it that worked out really well. And I would not have shot it or thought to shoot unless I had going, okay, oh, well, I guess I'll just take pictures of buildings. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a centerpiece of that whole trip. And it doesn't have people. It's not about the vacation. It's not about us having dinners or something together to celebrate our anniversary. It's this building that's lit by sunlight with a bunch of colors around it in Galveston, which was like in between. It was one of the liminal places, one of the places in between places we were going to go.
That's interesting. We're talking about liminal. We're not talking about literally liminal spaces. But we're talking about, I don't know, how would we say that? In between areas. In between
projects, in between events, yeah.
In between events. So liminal, I don't know how I can turn that into a phrase, but yeah. Well, so I don't know if that's answering the question about what we've learned.
I think it is.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
If you're bored, don't be. No, that's not right. What did I say?
Bored is not even a state of mind. Like, we can never be bored because these days, one is always inches away from something that's going to distract you from the boredom.
Well, that's
and I'll wrap it up on this kind of. And I don't know where this is going to go, but I did see I'm gonna have to find this YouTube video where someone was saying boredom is good. Like, it's okay to be bored. I don't know what the final, meaning of that is, but I know that we spend so much time distracting ourselves that we aren't bored. So if we're stuck and we can't go out and take pictures because we're not excited about what's outside or the weather is terrible or something like that, we instantly pick up the phone. I bet a lot of us do this and try to remove that boredom. And perhaps the idea is to be bored a little bit because maybe from that comes the sort of the generation of something to go and do with photography,
Right. Yeah.
So.
Cool.
I don't know. All right. Okay. I think we've managed to talk everybody's ear off.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just fine.
Yeah. And, for those people in Ascension Island, I hope you're.
Yeah. We're counting on you.
We're counting on you. Pretty excited for hearing from you and see how you guys deal with boredom or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I see. You're posting. He's showing me the picture. He just posted. Ward just posted the picture in front of me. In our oh yeah, wow,
so
nice,
yeah,
nice. Can we put can I use that as the can we put that in the show notes?
Sure.
All right, we got a picture.
I sent you the wrong link, which was distracting, and it was a previous link.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, okay, well, I'll send you this while we're thinking of it. While I can think, because I'll forget.
All right, I'll put a couple of my because I'm doing kind of the same thing. Boy, that's a really nice shot.
That was taken with the Fuji X20.
Oh, okay. So that's not your phone. That was with a camera.
That was with the camera. Yeah.
And you chose to crop it in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I like this. Yeah, I think it works. Okay. Well, I'll put this picture in the show notes so everybody's like, "What are they talking about?" Well, this will be the picture. This will be the cover picture for the for the MP3 side. All right, great. Well, thanks for sharing that. I like that.
Yeah.
I'll put a couple pictures in. Anyway, okay, we're good to go. What's the word on finding you in the world?
On the internet?
Where is that? What it's called these days?
The electronic meeting place we like to call the internet.
The bulletin boards? Yes. Where is this?
On Vero, Twitter, and Blue Sky. You can find me at WRosinPhoto. On Instagram, which is where you'll find the easiest time finding my most recent work and that sort of thing. I'm at Ward Rosin Fine Art. On Facebook, I'm Ward Rosin Photo. And my website, where I'm selling my zine called Gaijin, which means foreigner. And that's at rosin.ca. Nice. What about you, my friend? Where can we find you?
Yeah, I'm Blue Sky, which I'm hearing more about these days, at AM Rosario. Instagram, I'm putting very little up there, but I'm being very what's the word? Curating of my work there. So at AM Rosario Photo. The website is amrosario.com. Go there and check out my work that I put on a daily basis, my journeys. Facebook is facebook.com/Rosario Photo. And as I mentioned at the beginning, we have a Substack, which everybody seems to be having these days, but I think it's growing in a good way. Subscribe to our Substack at streetshots.substack.com. And tell your friends about us there too. Also, if you would like to be an honorary producer like Dan and Chris, you can support us by buying us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Antonio Rosario. I'm really grateful for Dan and Chris to help support us a little bit. Yes, it helps pay a little bit of the bills. And we don't have ads on this show. We don't. We don't have any sponsors. We just do this because we love it. So you guys helping support us a little bit is I'm very grateful for and thankful for. So yeah, that's it. That's all. Yeah, we're three more shows away from our 250th. Believe it or not. Right?
That's a lot of shows.
That's a lot of shows. Yes, that's a bit of a legacy. So I don't know. Maybe we can do something special for that. We'll see. So anyway,
to paraphrase, This is Spinal Tap. You could ask yourself, is that a lot of shows? And the answer would be yes. Yes, that's a lot of shows.
That's a lot of shows. All right, man. Thanks for joining.
All right.
And everybody, we will see you in a couple of weeks. And Ward, have a good evening.
You too, my friend.